Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going over tomorrow's NASCAR race at Kansas for this weekend on DraftKings. It's on Saturday night this time instead of Sunday afternoon, so that's just a heads up, and so I don't want you guys to miss out on the race. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate that. You can also follow me on Twitter at cpen_16. And if you want a copy of this NASCAR model I built, you guys can follow me on Twitter, and you can send me a DM asking for it, and I'll send you the link to that as well. And if you're going to be playing MMA UFC tomorrow, we had a guy come on and go over his cheat sheet and did his analysis on all the picks, and so you can watch that, and I'd really recommend it. He's pretty good at UFC. He took down a tournament last week, and he went 10-2 on his picks, and yeah, so he knows what he's doing, so I'd recommend checking that out. So anyway, let's get into this race. So first off, we're at Kansas Speedway. It's a 1.5 mile tri-oval with 267 laps. So this is strategy and tips for this racetrack. First off, inspection is going to be tomorrow, and if they do fail inspection, their starting position will be moved to where they're going to be starting in the back. So that can change a lot of things. So let's say Kevin Harvick, he's starting first, and I expect him to be the #1 dominator. If he ends up going to the back, he's not going to dominate the race anymore, and obviously it becomes a good place differential play, but that's going to hurt his dominating upside. And also guys like, so I'm not on Chase Elliott, but if he ends up going to the back, that's going to make him probably an auto play. Well, not an auto play, but it's going to make him a really good play. So just be on the lookout at that. And also, it's a 1 to 2 dominator kind of race. So usually we have 1 to 2 dominators. So I try to get 1 to 2 dominators in your lineups. And then so 10 lap average is going to be important for practice, and then track history is going to be important as well. And on the model, I do have all the practices that were raced here, and all the recent track history. So the past 4 races, all the stats you're going to need for that, and it's all color coded for you. So it's nice and neat and easy to follow. So anyway, let's get into the targets page and go over who I like and why we like them. So for the dominators, Kevin Harvick's going to be my #1, which I think it's going to be for a lot of people. He's been dominant here in the past with the #1 driver rating of 123.1. In the past 4 races, he has the second most laps led, 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 3 top 10s, and an average finish of 6. And he's dominated both practices, finishing first in the 10 lap averages, and he was also first in the 15 and 20 laps, so his car is really dialed in, and he'd be my pick to win the race and dominate the largest portion of it. So really like Harvick this week. Then I also like Martin Truex Jr. starting 6th. He's 11,400. And I also forgot to mention Harvick's price is pretty nice too at 10,600. It's going to allow you to be more flexible with your lineups. So anyway, Martin Truex. So just like Harvick, he's been dominant here recently with 2 wins in the past 4 races, 4 top 5s, and he also has led the most laps. And he has 118.8 driver rating and an average finish of 2.25. So he's just been absolutely awesome here. He didn't show up in practice at all, but I'm siding with history here, and I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't get up front at some point or contend for the win. Then Kyle Busch, we always have to list Kyle Busch here. He wasn't the fastest in practice, but he has done well at Kansas with 2 top 5s in the past 4 races. He has about almost 200 laps led as well. So he's definitely my 3rd option out of these 3 since he's starting further back and doesn't have the history as the 2 above him. But nonetheless, he's still been awesome here, and it would never shock me if he gets up front and dominates the race and wins, because that's just what Kyle Busch does. Then more of a GPP option here, and I do like the price. Eric Almirola at 8,100. He's starting 2nd, and it's tough that he's starting right behind Harvick, who seems to have a rocket ship this week. But so that's going to make him more of a GPP play. But he does have a great car this week. He was 2nd in the 10, 15, and 20 lap average. And if Harvick fails to dominate early, I think Almirola could be the one who benefits from that. So I do like Almirola as a nice GPP play. And then for the place differential guys, I like Ryan Blaney, 9,300. He's starting 19th, and he's been good here with 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s in the past 4 races, and with 149 laps led as well. And if you remove the DNF he had, where he didn't finish the race, he'd have one of the best average finishes here as well, and he'd probably have 4 top 10s. So definitely like Ryan Blaney a lot if you can afford him. Then Joey Logano, I mean, he's starting 20th, so you can't just leave him off here. His average finish is skewed by a DNF, but he did finish 3rd here recently, and it's Joey Logano. He always seems to have one of the top cars and contend for the win, even when practice doesn't reflect it. And also like Kurt Busch, he's been awesome here this year. He's been awesome this year, and he's been very solid here as well. He has some speed this week as he was 4th in final practice, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him in the top 5 again, but probably top 10 for sure. And then Chris Buescher, he's in a really nice spot for Chris, who's been solid here with an average finish of 18. He does have a top 10 under his belt as well. He was faster in practice than where he qualified, so I think it's a safe spot, and he's been pretty solid this year. And then I don't mind Austin Dillon. I'm usually not a fan of him, but he's in a decent spot starting 22nd. He has 4 straight top 20s here and an average finish of 14.5, so I actually think he's a nice solid play this week. And he'll probably go lower on starting around 22. And then for the cheapos, I like David Reagan a lot. 5,500, starting 33rd. He usually qualifies in the mid-20s, which is usually where he finishes. But this time we're going to get him 33rd, so he has some nice upside here, and he's really cheap. He also hasn't finished lower than 19th here, and he finished all the way up in 13th as well. So I think he's an awesome value this week, and he's an average finish of 16.5. So I'm all about David Reagan this week. And then Tyler Reddick, starting 6,300, starting 30th. He's in decent equipment in the 31 car, Ryan Newman's old car. And he showed some really good speed in practice today, finishing 12th and 14th in the 10-lap averages. So he has some sneaky speed this week, and starting 6,300, I think that's a really nice value. And then Ryan Preece, 6,100, starting 31st. He's just starting so far back and cheap, and I know he hasn't been the best this year, except for the super speedways, but I have to think he moves up a few spots. And then for the fades, Clint Boyer, I just don't think he's got as good as car as Eric Almirola and Kevin Harvick, and obviously I like Martin Truex, so he's going to be the odd man out for me, and he hasn't been the best here as well. And Ty Dillon's starting too far out for me, and so is Daniel Suarez. And just a quick reminder that inspection is tomorrow, so this can change a lot of the plays. This whole cheat sheet could change, so just be on the lookout for updates. And anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video. If you have any questions, you can comment below. You can also follow me on Twitter at cpen_16. If you want that cheat sheet, follow me on there and send me a DM, and I'll send it over to you. If you have any questions, you can ask away as well. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, and good luck.